I'm Dr. Lanier, and I own Be Well for Life, and I'm glad you stopped by to hear what I might have to say today. Well, we've been talking about stress, and I'm going to continue that thought because it is huge and it affects all of us. But along the lines of things that I see every day in my chiropractic office, on intake forms and just talking to patients as I go door to door, a ton of people have Gerd, gastrointestinal reflux disease. As a matter of fact, 60 million Americans have been diagnosed with Gerd. 25% of North America has been diagnosed with Gerd. That's a lot of people. That's a problem. Well, there are degrees of Gerd. They grade them 4 different ways, 1, 2, 3, 4. The initial phase is just once or twice a month. You seem to have trouble with burning or swallowing or stuff coming back up your swallower, all the way to Barrett's esophagus and severe irritation around the esophagus that could lead to cancer and does lead to cancer. Within that spectrum, stress plays a role. There are other factors, but stress plays a major role in digestive system. The way that it does in terms of research is that it can cause a relaxation around the last sphincter that stops food from coming back up. There's a sphincter that pushes food through, and there's a sphincter that keeps food out and coming back up. So when you are under stress and prolonged stress, your body's not thinking about digestion. It isn't thinking about the next meal. It isn't thinking about the last meal. It slows down. And so therefore, the focus is on something else. So stress, by way of altering the gastrointestinal flow, begins to cause backup and give you Gerd. That's point one. I mentioned that when you're under prolonged stress, I don't mean minor stress. We all have minor stress. We call that life. But prolonged stress, all the way to burnout. Stress that doesn't seem to want to leave us. It can cause motility problems. Food begins to slowly move through your system rather than normally move through your system. When you're under stress, your body is in that flight or fight syndrome and is not focusing on digestion, but it's focusing on survival. It's a very useful system. However, when you're under prolonged stress, this is going to be a problem. Your body's not designed to handle prolonged stress, at least without changing certain lifestyle factors. So motility is one way that it causes a backup, and that is addressed with lifestyle, with different factors of lifestyle, whether you get enough sleep, whether you practice breathing, whether you are mindful or whether you're distracted as you eat, affects the way food and digestion occurs in your body. So let me move on to second point about digestion and about stress, and that is mindful eating. Wow. Do we really have to be reminded to have mindful eating? You answer that question. How many times have you or I been driving down the road trying to eat our lunch or dinner or breakfast? How many times do you sit down at a dinner table, period? Or sit down at a dinner table only to be interrupted by a phone call or by an emergency or by a daily event, a fight, family trouble? And maybe the best question is, how often do you sit down peacefully? And how often are you thankful for what's on your plate? And how often are you mindful of every bite you take and chew and swallow and relax while you're eating? Believe it or not, that one lifestyle practice can pay big dividends in how your digestive system operates and how your swallower works better and how your sphincter that holds that food down can be relaxed and work as it works normally in your digestive system. So mindful eating sounds kind of mindless, doesn't it? Do we really have to be thinking about eating? Yes, only because stress can occupy our minds and mental state so much that we eat and don't even remember what we ate. And it went so fast, and it's not the way that God intended for these bodies to process food, that after a while you begin to have some diseases set up. So simple lifestyle practices, that's the whole purpose of being well for life in functional medicine, can cure a world of ills. We've been talking about stress and Gerd, one of the most common problems in North American people. Why? Did that happen before? Well, you can think of a few things that we harp on here in functional medicine, and that is what kind of food or fake food do we put in our bodies that your body just can't digest? What kind of drinks do we put in? Final stages of Gerd have to do with Barrett's esophagus, which is related to heavy drinking. And there's more and more research about things like this. So what you put in your mouth is important. Having to do with Gerd, it's very important. So simply put, in functional medicine, we say just eat real food. Eat your own food. Don't eat fake food in a box that was processed in some big manufacturing plant. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, yet they can make it taste good, but it can make you sick. So just eat real food. And you know, we get to a point where, yes, you have to avoid certain types of real food that might burn until you can heal. But once you heal, there's value even in spicy food. There's capsicum in there that helps with inflammation in your whole body. So it isn't the food, if it's real, that is the culprit. It's your body that's gotten sick because you didn't take care of it. So stress and Gerd, and food that you put in your mouth that complicates all of that. Well, let's talk about one thing related to Gerd, and it has to do with the things that we've already talked about: mindful eating, relaxation, slowing down. Not that you can't speed up and get a lot done in a day, but slowing down around the things that have to do with digestion. Take a breath. How many times a day do you sigh? You know, that's one way God's put in our respiratory system to catch up on a breath. How many times do you yawn? Same thing happens. You might yawn several times if you're under severe stress within 15 minutes because you're trying to catch up on your oxygen. Breathing. Now that's part of your autonomic nervous system, just like stress is part of your autonomic nervous system, or the automated or the automatic nervous system. You don't think about it. It's there to help you without you thinking about it, thank the Lord. If you had to remember to tell your heart to beat, if you had to remember to tell your lungs to fill with air, what if you forgot? No, it's automatic. However, when there's stress, automatically you shorten your breath. Your heart rate goes up, and you are attempting to survive. Makes sense when you're running away from a bear or a lion, just like the fight or flight syndrome is intended to be, or you're in a fight. Maybe you're in a war. Yeah, you need your heart rate to be up. You need your breath to be shorter and get more oxygen faster. But that's intended to last for a moment. So, you may have heard of take a breath. You may have heard of breathing, relaxation, meditation. Let me reassure you of something. That is not mystical. It is physiological. Take a deep breath. Hold it for a second, and then just, in a relaxed sort of way, let it all the way out, and then press your stomach in and let every bit of it out. And you can do that 3 times in a row to start your process of just relaxing, being mindful. being grateful. There's some things to be grateful for, even under great stress. I've lived long enough to know about stress. Don't you worry. I'm not talking about it. I have lived it, and I know its detriments, and I know how to manage some of it. So, as you're dealing with digestive issues and GERD and stress, breathe. It's actually a practice that's very, very helpful. Deep belly breathing, they call it. Meditation. 15, 20 minutes of it, 2 or 3 times a day would just make you a healthy individual, especially on a high-stress lifestyle you might have. And don't get me wrong, it's not that you can avoid stress. It's not the stress's fault. Sometimes we just have to manage that. How many minutes and hours in a day can we limit that? I think more so than we give ourselves credit for. Some of us live under high-stress jobs. Some of us just have a season of our life that it's very stressful. Things have happened. Loved ones may have died or had other social issues or family issues that really, to me, are the worst. They cause you the most stress. They cause you the most concern. And it's not stress that it's evil. It's just stress that concerns you and occupies your mind and gets in the way of your health. So, learning how to manage that is part of functional medicine. And there are practices, there are tools. One day I'll create a course on that. But anyway, breathing. Take a breath. Take a minute or 20. Now, we've been talking about stress, and I wanted to move on to a little different topic. Interesting research point that I came across. Always learning. And you may be somebody that always learns too. Maybe that's why you're here. That's good. There's some research done about cortisol, which is related to stress that's released in your body and evidence of you going through stress. That's how your body works. And surgery. What they found out was that the measure of cortisol prior to surgery and the measure of cortisol after surgery with patients in pain, recovering, wasn't quite what I thought it might be. Because to me, the pain after, and I've seen it, I haven't experienced much, thankfully, but I've seen people who, after surgery, are just in misery. But guess what? What they found was that even in those patients who are miserable after surgery, and that, by the way, is a stressor, pain is a stressor, and it causes your body to activate your adrenal gland and make some cortisol and process it through your liver and mess up your digestive system and make your hands and feet cold because it shuts down your peripheral nervous system so that you can focus on the center core of living and surviving. But that cortisol was higher before surgery. And with the research that they did, they discovered why was because of nerves, of worry, of mental occupation with what if. That was an eye-opener to me. The what ifs are a more powerful health detriment than the what actually is after surgery with the pain and suffering. So, if you would like some help with anxiety, with the what ifs that we don't know answers for, that has created a problem in your body, let me try to help. I've been talking a lot about how to be healthy. I own the business Be Well for Life. You can go to my website at bewell-forlife.com, and there's information there, and there's an opportunity for you to make a discovery call to talk to me. But this video is about you. Every video is about you, but this is about what do I do? Kind of is answered by the question of why am I here? I'm here because at this point in my life, and I'm not 30 anymore, I've been a lot of places and learned a lot of things and experienced a lot of things and seen a lot of people sick and get well, and have learned what a systems approach to being healthy can mean to me, my loved ones, and to you. You may wonder about your path and your journey, and I suppose if you're here, I presume it's because you're looking, you're searching, you're a learner, and maybe you're sick, maybe you're hurting. I understand all those things. Maybe no one has had an answer for you, or maybe the answers that people have tried haven't been the right answers yet. Maybe there's a combination of answers. I happen to know from experience that in a doctor's office, it's very difficult to take the time to put together answers. It's an unusual situation for doctors to even communicate these days. So I presume you're here because you're looking. You would like somebody to help. Well, that's why I'm here. Those two things match up. Maybe you've been sick a long time. I understand that. I get it. Maybe that good life, you feel like you watched it go by. You see people enjoying their life. You see people that are healthy and can make plans and make trips and have coffee with their friends at the coffee shop, and you're limited. And it probably does get a little worse because you're isolated, because now you can't go. I get all those things. And let's be honest. I'll be honest with myself, and you can be honest with yourself. I do believe that there are answers. I just believe maybe you haven't gone to the right person to have the answers. And do I have them all? Absolutely not. I would be foolish to offer such a thing. But I'm resourceful. Maybe you need 2 of us. Maybe you need 4 of us. Maybe you just need time. Maybe I need to take time to learn who you are and where you've come from. So, all that's to say, what do you do now? Well, if you're here for all of those reasons, I'm going to say that there's still a good life for you. The only thing that's passed by are people who haven't been able to connect the dots, who haven't been trained in a systems approach to your health, who don't even understand the value of, should I say, the huge value of changing your life. Adding some good food that goes into your stomach, believe it or not, those things can make a tremendous difference in the way that you feel mentally, physically. You can have new energy. You can have whatever you have not already destroyed to the point of no return, which I think is very little, but I don't know you. You can have a very full life. By the way, you could have the good life. So, what do you do next? In the way that I work, you go to my website, bewell-forlife.com. Have some information there, learn a little bit more about me. My wife is a health and wellness coach. It'd be nice for her to meet you also. She has lived through a lot of this. She's had a lifetime of autoimmune diseases that, through her own determination, she's gotten her health back. And we'd like to be your friend. So, give me a call. I'm sorry, I misspoke. I will give you a call. You go to my website, you set up a discovery call. I will have your phone number. And you don't talk to an assistant. You don't talk to anybody but me. When somebody calls, it'll be me. And I think we just need to talk. You might have a question. I would. So when we talk, what does that do? Well, that just gets us started. Are we a good match? Can I help you? Do I think I can help you based on what I hear from you? It is not an hour-long intake call. That does take time, my time, cost money, all that kind of good stuff. But it's a chance for me to meet you and for you and I to decide if we're a good match and what might be involved in taking it further. How long does it take is what I would also want to know. Guess what? Between you and me, it takes as long as it takes. That's hard to predict. Usually I always make a joke and say it's longer than you want it to take and cost a little more money than you want it to cost. That's not a joke. I've been there. I've done that. I've paid the bill. And it's just the way it is. But is it worth getting your health back? Probably cheaper than a vacation. Anyway, that's what you need to do next, and I hope that's helpful. Thanks for dropping by. Stay tuned for the next video.